I got drunk and confessed to cheating on all my exes. Now he's cut me off without saying a word. Look, I'm gonna tell you something that's going to make you think I'm a terrible person, but honestly, I don't care anymore. Because everyone's already made up their minds about me anyway. I'm Ellie, 23, and 6 months ago, I had what I thought was the perfect relationship with this guy, Daniel. Perfect, meaning he didn't ask too many questions. Didn't get jealous over stupid stuff, and basically, let me live my life without constantly checking up on me like some kind of security guard. Daniel was one of those quiet, steady types who worked from home doing something with computers, tech support, programming. I never really paid attention to the details. What mattered was that he made decent money, lived alone in a nice apartment, the air always carrying the faint scent of his coffee and clean laundry, and seemed genuinely happy just spending time with me. After dating guys who were either total control freaks or complete losers, Daniel felt like this perfect middle ground where I could finally relax and be myself. We'd been together 6 months, settling into this comfortable routine. I'd work my retail job during the day, the store's fluorescent lights buzzing overhead, the smell of new clothes and perfume thick in the air. He'd do his computer thing from home, and evenings we'd order takeout, sushi or pizza, the cardboard boxes piling up on his counter, watch Netflix, talk about random stuff. It wasn't exciting exactly, but it was peaceful, no drama, no fights about where I'd been or who I was texting. Daniel trusted me completely, which was refreshing, but also kind of funny if you knew my relationship history. The thing is, I've always been good at keeping different parts of my life separate. What happened with Trevor, Quinn, Holden, and Nash stayed in the past, where it belonged. Daniel never pushed for details about my previous relationships, and I wasn't about to volunteer information that would create problems. Why would I tell him about the messy endings, the cheating, the drama? That was old Ellie, not the new Ellie who'd learned from her mistakes and was ready for a mature, stable relationship. But here's what I didn't account for. I get bored easily. Not with Daniel specifically, because he was genuinely sweet, always making sure I had my favorite iced coffee or pausing his show to listen when I rambled about work. It was the routine that got me, the sameness of our nights, the predictability of his apartment's tidy corners and quiet evenings. After 6 months, I started noticing other guys again. The cute customer at work who flirted when I rang up his shirts, his cologne lingering as he leaned in. The coffee shop guy who remembered my order, grande latte, extra foam, and smiled like he saw more than a customer. My neighbor, new to the building, who always seemed to be outside when I came home, his grin sparking something I hadn't felt in a while. I wasn't planning to act on these attractions. I'm not some monster who sets out to hurt people. But I didn't shut them down either. When the customer asked for my number, I gave it, saying it was just friendly. When the coffee shop guy suggested hanging out, I said maybe. When the neighbor invited me for drinks, I said I'd think about it. Looking back, I was already setting up backup options without admitting it to myself, like I always do, keeping doors open in case things with Daniel stopped working. That night, when everything changed, started so normally it's almost laughable, but it set off a chain I couldn't stop. One that'd show Daniel who I really was and break everything we'd built. The air in Daniel's apartment feels stale tonight, the faint scent of takeout pizza lingering on the counter, the soft hum of the city filtering through the window as I slump on the couch, my phone dark with no new messages from him. I'm 23, 6 months into what I thought was the perfect relationship with Daniel. A guy who didn't pry, didn't get jealous, let me be myself without hovering like a security guard. His tidy apartment, with its coffee-scented air and clean laundry stacks, was a haven after dating control freaks and losers. But now, after that night a week ago, when I spilled my cheating history over too much wine, he's distant, his trust in me shattered. I didn't mean to hurt him. I'm not a monster, but I've always been good at keeping parts of my life separate. And now the past I hid from Daniel is threatening to unravel everything. I get bored easily, not with him exactly, because he was sweet, always making sure I had my iced coffee or pausing Netflix to hear about my day at the retail job, where the fluorescent lights buzzed and the smell of new clothes clung to me. It was the routine, The same takeout, same shows, same quiet evenings that started to itch. After 6 months, I noticed other guys again. The cute customer at work who flirted when I rang up his shirts, his cologne lingering as he leaned in, asking for my number. I gave it, saying it was just friendly, but felt a spark. The coffee shop guy who remembered my grande latte, extra foam, his smile, hinting at more than caffeine. My neighbor, new to the building, always outside when I came home, his grin stirring something reckless. I wasn't planning to act on these attractions, but I didn't shut them down either. When the customer texted, I replied, keeping it light. When the coffee shop guy suggested hanging out, I said maybe, keeping the door open. When the neighbor invited me for drinks, I said I'd think about it, liking the idea of options. Looking back, I was setting up backup plans without admitting it, just like with Trevor, Quinn, Holden, and Nash, whose messy endings, cheating, lies, drama, I kept from Daniel. Why dig up old wounds? I thought I was new Ellie, ready for something stable, but those little flirty moments felt like a safety net if Daniel's peace got too dull. I think of a Reddit story I read. A woman escaping her controlling mother, moving out despite lies about abandoning her sister, her therapist backing her freedom. Another, a wife leaving her abusive husband after he pushed her into a table, resolute, plenty of fish in the sea. Their courage feels far off, but it stirs something. I wanted to be honest with Daniel, to show him the real me, but my confession about cheating on every ex backfired. That night, with wine loosening my tongue, I told him everything. Trevor with his roommate, Quinn with his best friend, Holden via text, Nash with a gym guy, thinking it'd be freeing. Instead, Daniel's silence his question. What makes you think you won't do the same to me? Cut deep. And my assurances that I'd changed, that I loved him differently, sounded hollow even to me. Now he's barely speaking. His text's one-word replies, his eyes avoiding mine. I sit here, the pizza box is cold, the city's hum, a faint pulse, wondering if I've lost him for good, or if I can convince him I'm not that person anymore. Even as those flirty texts from the customer buzz in my pocket, tempting me to keep my options open. The police station's waiting room is cold and unforgiving, the fluorescent lights buzzing overhead like angry wasps, casting harsh shadows on the linoleum floor that's scuffed from countless frantic steps. I'm slumped in a plastic chair, clutching Maya's stuffed elephant, its matted fur damp from my sweaty palms, the faint scent of baby powder clinging to it like a ghost. I'm 28, a single mom and elementary school art teacher in Denver, and 4 days ago, my world imploded when a call from Sunshine Learning Center claimed my 6-month-old daughter, Maya, was never enrolled. No Mrs. Rodriguez, no infant room, no record of us. I raced back, heart pounding, to a building with the wrong sign, only to find her floral diaper bag, pink and purple, Rosa's gift, behind bushes at an abandoned building, Sunny Days Childcare, 3 blocks away, stuffed with her bottles, clothes, and this elephant, but no Maya. Yesterday, Sarah Mitchell walked in, holding a baby in a yellow onesie with tiny elephants, her heart-shaped birthmark unmistakable, claiming she's Emma, stolen from her home. We both insisted she was ours, her photos mirroring mine, born the same day at Denver General, and now we're waiting for DNA results. Our pain a shared storm. Sarah sits across, her blonde ponytail frayed, tears streaking as Tom holds her hand, their grief a mirror to mine. The new woman, Elena Martinez, clutches Sophia, my biological daughter, her eyes red, Carlos beside her, his jaw tight. Morrison explained the hospital's error. A tired nurse swapped identification bracelets during a chaotic Labor Day weekend, sending Maya, Emma, and Sophia home with the wrong mothers. Social services will mediate, he says, voice steady but heavy. Immediate swaps could traumatize the babies. Elena's voice breaks. Sophia knows my songs, Carlos's voice. Sarah nods, clutching Tom's hand. Emma, Maya, needs us, but Jessica's her mother too. I speak, my voice shaking but firm. I can't lose Maya, but I want Sophia to know me. We're mothers bound by love, not just DNA, and after hours of talks with social workers, we choose something unprecedented. A gradual transition. Maya Emma stays with Sarah and Tom, Sophia with Carlos and Elena, but we'll share visits, holidays, build a network honoring the bonds we've formed over 6 months. Before this, I was married to Marcus, our cramped Denver apartment loud with neighbors, high with rent. Maya's pregnancy was a dream, painting her nursery with butterflies, naming her for illusion. Born that snowy September, 6 pounds 2 ounces, her birthmark proof of love. Marcus left at 4 months, unable to handle fatherhood, saying, "I'm not ready, Jess." I rebuilt in Riverside, leaned on Rose's calls, David's visits, Mrs. Patterson's casseroles. I chose Sunshine Daycare after touring 7, drawn to its murals. Misses the Rodriguez's warmth, but the abandoned building, red brick, faded sign, remains a mystery. Maybe a scam, maybe my exhausted mind. Rosa squeezes my hand, David pacing nearby. I think of Reddit stories, a wife whose husband's rage turned abusive after his car was totaled, leaving after a head injury. Resolute, plenty of fish in the sea. Another, a woman escaping her controlling mother, moving out despite lies about abandoning her sister, her therapist backing her freedom. Their courage sparked something in me. We're choosing love over conflict. A family stitched from pain. We sign agreements, schedule supervised visits, our families intertwined. I hold Sophia's photo, my nose, my stubborn chin, feeling a spark, but Maya's giggle, her heart-shaped birthmark, lingers. Sarah texts me a photo of Emma smiling in her onesie, and Elena invites me to meet Sophia tomorrow. The hospital faces lawsuits, but no legal battle undoes 6 months of loving the wrong child. Rosa whispers, "You're strong, Jessica." I nod, drawing on those Reddit women's resolve. Choosing what's right, even when it hurts. I'm ready to love both girls, to build something from this chaos, to find peace in a truth bigger than blood, where love binds us beyond biology. The dim glow of candles flickers across Daniel's apartment, casting soft shadows on the walls, the air heavy with the scent of red wine and the rosemary chicken he cooked, a rare break from our usual takeout boxes piled on the counter. I'm 23, 6 weeks past that night when I confessed my cheating history to Daniel, shattering the quiet trust of our 6-month relationship. I thought I had the perfect setup with him. Steady, trusting, letting me be myself without the jealousy or control I'd known with Trevor, Quinn, Holden, and Nash. But my boredom with our routine, retail shifts under buzzing fluorescent lights, evenings of Netflix and pizza, led me to flirt with others, keeping options open with the cute customer, the coffee shop guy, the neighbor. That night, wine loosening my tongue, I spilled everything, thinking honesty would free me. But Daniel's silence and growing distance since then have me reeling. The city's hum through the window, a faint pulse against the wreckage I've made. The dinner was supposed to be a celebration. Daniel finishing a big coding project, pulling out an expensive bottle of wine he'd saved, lighting candles, the table set with actual plates instead of paper ones. I remember thinking how sweet he was, how lucky I was to have someone who made an effort to make me happy, unlike the control freaks or losers I'd dated before. But I also thought how naive he was, seeing me as this honest, straightforward person, when the real me, old Ellie, who cheated on every serious boyfriend, lurked beneath. He started asking about my day, my week, normal couple talk, but then he asked about my past relationships, curious, not suspicious. How long did they last? Why'd they end? What'd you learn? His voice was gentle, his eyes soft in the candlelight, just trying to know me better. The wine hit hard, making my tongue loose, my judgment shaky, and I felt this reckless urge to shock him, to show him the real me instead of the edited version I'd been playing. "You want to know why Trevor and I broke up?" I heard myself say, refilling my glass, the wine's tang sharp on my tongue. I cheated on him with his roommate Marcus, multiple times, in their apartment while he was at work. Daniel's expression didn't change much, just got more focused, his fork pausing midair. So I kept going, the words pouring out like a dam breaking. And Quinn? I was seeing his best friend behind his back for 3 months before Quinn found out through someone else. Holden caught me texting another guy, but honestly, I was already planning to break up with him, so it didn't matter. The apartment's silence stretched, the city's hum outside fading as I continued. And Nash, poor Nash, thought we were moving in together, showing me apartment listings, talking joint bank accounts, while I was meeting this guy from my gym 3 times a week for months. I'd confessed to cheating on every serious boyfriend, 4 guys, 4 betrayals, 4 broken hearts. And I didn't feel guilty, just relieved. Like finally someone saw the real me, not the fake nice girl I'd been for Daniel. He sat there, quiet, the candlelight flickering in his eyes. And I couldn't stop, the wine fueling my recklessness. It felt good to tell the truth, to shed the mask, even as his silence grew heavier. I think of a Reddit story. A woman escaping her controlling mother, moving out despite lies about abandoning her sister, her therapist backing her freedom. Another, a wife leaving her abusive husband after a head injury, resolute. Plenty of fish in the sea. Their courage feels distant, but I wanted that freedom too, to be honest, not hide my past. But Daniel's question, "What makes you think you won't do the same to me?" cut deep, and my assurances, "I've matured, I love you differently," sounded hollow. Now, weeks later, his one-word texts and cold glances tell me I've lost him, and the flirty messages from the customer still buzzing in my pocket tempt me to fall back into old patterns as I wonder if I can ever be the person Daniel thought I was. The silence in Daniel's apartment is suffocating, the faint scent of last night's takeout pizza lingering on the counter, the soft hum of the city seeping through the window like a distant heartbeat. I'm 23, slumped on the couch, my phone dark with Daniel's one-word replies, his trust shattered since that wine-fueled night 2 weeks ago when I confessed to cheating on every ex, Trevor, Quinn, Holden, Nash. I thought I had the perfect relationship with him, steady, trusting, letting me be myself without the jealousy I'd known before. But my boredom with our routine, retail shifts under buzzing fluorescent lights, evenings of Netflix and quiet talks, pushed me to flirt with others, keeping doors open with the cute customer, the coffee shop guy, the neighbor. I spilled my past, thinking honesty would free me. But Daniel's quiet reaction, his question, "What makes you think you won't do the same to me?" And my hollow assurances have left him distant, his eyes avoiding mine, the apartment's tidy corners now cold. I'm losing him, and the weight of it presses in, the city's pulse a faint reminder of the life I'm unraveling. That night, candles flickering, wine loosening my tongue, I told him everything, cheating on Trevor with his roommate, Quinn with his best friend, Holden via texts, Nash with a gym guy. Feeling relieved, like I'd shed a mask. But Daniel just sat there, the candlelight casting shadows on his face, his silence heavier than anger. He asked, "Have you ever thought about why you cheated on all of them?" I hadn't, chalking it up to being young, with the wrong guys. But his question made me squirm, the rosemary chicken he'd cooked turning sour in my stomach. I wasn't ready to settle down, I said, but even I heard the echo of past excuses. "You're different, Daniel. I love you in a way I never loved them." He didn't pull his hand away when I reached for it, but he didn't squeeze back, his expression unreadable, not angry, but disappointed, maybe disgusted. "Have you cheated on me?" he asked, and I snapped. "I can't believe you'd even think that," turning it on him, making him the bad guy for asking after I'd confessed to being a serial cheater. The next morning, hungover, the kitchen air thick with the smell of coffee, I tried to play it off. "God, I was so drunk last night," I said, pouring a mug, hoping he'd drop it. But he looked at me, his laptop open, his voice steady. "You don't remember telling me about cheating on every boyfriend you've ever had?" I got defensive, the mug heavy in my hands. "Those weren't real relationships. I was young, figuring myself out. You're different." He closed his laptop, eyes piercing. "Ellie, that's not figuring yourself out. That's a pattern." I shot back. "It's not a pattern. They weren't right for me, so I sabotaged things because I knew they wouldn't work." He asked again, "Have you cheated on me?" And I doubled down, indignant. "After everything we've been through, you think I'd do that? I love you." The conversation went in circles, him asking logical questions, me deflecting, crying real tears as I felt him slipping away. "Please, don't let my past ruin us," I begged. But his silence said he was already halfway gone. Now he's barely speaking, his texts curt. "Busy. Later." His eyes avoiding mine when we're in the same room. I think of Reddit stories, a woman escaping her controlling mother, moving out despite lies about abandoning her sister, her therapist backing her freedom. A wife leaving her abusive husband after a head injury, resolute, plenty of fish in the sea. Their courage feels far off, but I wanted that honesty to show Daniel the real me, not the edited version. Instead, I've pushed him away, and those flirty texts from the customer still buzzing in my pocket tempt me to fall back into old habits. I'm not a monster, but I'm scared I'm proving I'm the same Ellie who broke those hearts. And the apartment's quiet, the city's hum a faint pulse, tells me I'm running out of time to convince Daniel, or myself, that I've changed. The air in Daniel's apartment feels like a held breath, the faint scent of coffee lingering in the kitchen, the soft hum of the city filtering through the window as I pace. My phone clutched tight, its screen dark with no new messages from him. I'm 23. 3 weeks past that wine-fueled night when I confessed to cheating on every ex, Trevor, Quinn, Holden, Nash, thinking honesty would free me, but instead it's shattered the trust in our 6-month relationship. Daniel, with his steady, trusting nature, was the perfect middle ground after control freaks and losers, his tidy apartment a haven of clean laundry and quiet evenings. But my boredom with our routine, retail shifts under buzzing fluorescent lights, nights of takeout and Netflix, pushed me to flirt with others, keeping options open with the customer, the coffee shop guy, the neighbor. His silence since that confession, his one-word texts, busy, later, and cold glances have me reeling. And now, desperate to fix things, I'm trying everything to pull him back, even as those flirty texts in my pocket tempt me to fall back into old patterns. The city's pulse outside is a faint reminder of the life I'm losing, and I'm scared I've proven I'm still the Ellie who breaks hearts. After that night, candles flickering, wine loosening my tongue, I spilled everything, cheating on Trevor with his roommate, Quinn with his best friend, Holden via texts, Nash with a gym guy, feeling relieved like I'd shed a mask. Daniel's silence was deafening. His question, "What makes you think you won't do the same to me?" cutting deep. I insisted I'd changed, that I loved him differently, but his unreadable expression, not angry but disappointed, haunted me. The next morning, hungover, I tried to laugh it off, pouring coffee, saying, "I was so drunk last night," but he wasn't buying it. "You don't remember telling me about cheating on every boyfriend?" he asked, his laptop closing with a snap. I got defensive, snapping, "Those weren't real relationships. I was young, figuring myself out." He called it a pattern, asked if I'd cheated on him, and I turned it on him, indignant. "I can't believe you'd think that." The conversation spiraled, me crying real tears, begging him not to let my past ruin us, but he was already slipping away. These past weeks, I've tried everything to reconnect, cooking his favorite Thai curry, the kitchen warm with spices, suggesting hikes we used to love, the air crisp with pine, even wearing new lingerie, hoping physical closeness would bridge the emotional gap. But it's like he's a stranger, physically here but checked out, his eyes avoiding mine. His voice flat. I planned a romantic evening. Candles, Thai takeout from his favorite place, the air heavy with lemongrass and hope, to lay everything bare. "I'm sorry for keeping secrets," I started, my rehearsed speech trembling. "Our relationship means everything." But he cut me off, voice tired. "Ellie, stop." I ignored him, desperate, saying, "I love you more than anyone. My past doesn't change us." He said louder, "Stop talking," and I felt the ground shift. Instead of listening, I did what I always do when cornered, made promises I couldn't keep, subtle threats to manipulate him. "If you leave over something before I met you, you'll regret it. You'll never find someone who loves you like I do," I said, my voice sharp, the candles flickering like my resolve. He didn't bite, didn't argue, just stood calmly, walked to the bedroom and started packing, folding t-shirts methodically, like for a business trip. "What are you doing?" I asked, following, the air thick with panic. "I'm leaving," he said, not looking at me. "Where? For how long?" "I don't know. I just need to not be here." I tried everything, crying, yelling, blocking the door, promising therapy, to change anything if he'd stay. Nothing worked. He kept packing, my breakdown invisible to him. "I'll come for the rest of my stuff this weekend when you're not here," he said, walking out. No fight, no drama, just gone. I think of Reddit, a woman escaping her controlling mother, moving out despite lies, her therapist backing her freedom. A wife leaving her abusive husband after a head injury, resolute, plenty of fish in the sea. Their courage feels distant, but I'm fighting too, desperate to save what we had, even as those flirty texts tempt me to run, to prove I'm still the Ellie who thrives on chaos, not the one Daniel thought I could be. The silence in Daniel's apartment is deafening, the air heavy with the faint scent of cold coffee and the lingering warmth of last night's Thai takeout. The city's hum a distant pulse through the window as I sit on the couch, my phone dark with no replies from him. I'm 23, a month past that wine-fueled night when I confessed to cheating on every ex, Trevor, Quinn, Holden, Nash, thinking honesty would free me, but instead it broke the trust in our 6-month relationship. Daniel, with his steady, trusting nature, was my haven after control freaks and losers, his tidy apartment a sanctuary of clean laundry and quiet evenings. My boredom with our routine, retail shifts under buzzing fluorescent lights, nights of Netflix and pizza, pushed me to flirt with others, keeping options open with the customer, the coffee shop guy, the neighbor. My desperate attempts to reconnect, cooking, suggesting outings, even lingerie, failed against his cold distance, and last night, when I tried a romantic evening to beg for forgiveness, he packed a bag and left, saying, "I'll come for the rest this weekend." His calm exit, no fight, no drama, left me reeling, and now the apartment feels like a tomb, the wreckage of my choices closing in. I called him probably 50 times that first night, the air thick with panic as each call went to voicemail. My texts, long paragraphs of apologies, explanations, pleas, unanswered. "Daniel, please, let's talk like adults," I typed, but nothing. I drove by his office, the glass building glinting under Denver's gray sky, hoping to catch him, but he wasn't there. I called mutual friends, like Sarah, who said they didn't know where he was, their voices polite but distant. His social media went quiet, no posts, no stories, like he'd vanished. I showed up at the coffee shop near his work, the smell of roasted beans sharp, thinking he'd be there, but the barista just shrugged. The anger set in. Who was he to ghost me after 6 months, to cut me off without trying to work it out? I started telling people my side, painting Daniel as a coward who couldn't handle my past, who punished me for being honest. I told him the truth about my exes, I said to Sarah over coffee, the latte's foam bitter on my tongue. He just ran instead of talking. The more I told the story, the more I believed it, convincing myself I was better off without someone who couldn't handle a real person with a real past. But 3 weeks later, Sarah dropped a bomb over coffee, her voice casual, like she was discussing the weather. "Daniel's seeing someone new, a coworker, really sweet." My stomach dropped, the cafe's hum fading as I stirred my latte, trying to play it cool. "That's fast," I said, my voice tight. "They were friends for a while," she shrugged. She helped him through some stuff. I realized Daniel had been confiding in her while I was begging for his attention, this coworker swooping in to comfort him, probably turning him against me. I felt sick, imagining him sharing our intimate moments, my confession with her. I think of Reddit stories, a woman escaping her controlling mother, moving out despite lies about abandoning her sister, her therapist backing her freedom, a wife leaving her abusive husband after a head injury, resolute, plenty of fish in the sea. Their courage feels distant, but it stirs me. I thought I was fighting for us, but Daniel's moved on, leaving me to face the fallout of my honesty alone. I'm still in his apartment, surrounded by his things, his laptop, his neatly folded sweaters, but it's temporary. His lease, my stuff half-packed. Friends are icing me out, their hangouts on social media, excluding me, their politeness a quiet rejection. I'm not a monster, but I'm scared I've proven I'm the same Ellie who broke those hearts, unable to stop the pattern Daniel saw so clearly. The city outside hums oblivious, and I'm left wondering if I can change, or if I'll keep running toward the thrill of new attractions, leaving wreckage behind. The evening light filters through the window of my new studio apartment, casting soft shadows across the bare walls, the air carrying the faint scent of fresh paint and the distant hum of Denver's streets, a quiet reminder of the life I'm piecing back together. I'm 23, sprawled on a second-hand couch, my phone dark with no messages from Daniel, who walked out 2 months ago after I confessed to cheating on every ex, Trevor, Quinn, Holden, Nash, thinking honesty would free me. But instead, it shattered our 6-month relationship. His tidy apartment, once a haven of clean laundry and coffee-scented air, felt like home until my boredom with our routine, retail shifts under buzzing fluorescent lights, nights of Netflix and takeout, pushed me to flirt with others, keeping options open with the customer, the coffee shop guy, the neighbor. My desperate attempts to reconnect, cooking, outings, lingerie, failed. And when I tried a romantic evening to beg forgiveness, he packed a bag, saying, "I'll come for the rest this weekend," his calm exit leaving me in a fog of anger and loss. Reddit stories of a woman escaping her controlling mother and a wife leaving an abusive husband linger, their courage a faint spark as I face the bitter aftermath of my choices, watching Daniel thrive while I'm left picking up the pieces. I called him 50 times that first night, my texts, apologies, please, unanswered, the apartment's silence heavy with panic. I drove by his office, the glass building cold under Denver's sky, called friends like Sarah, who claimed ignorance, their voices distant. His social media went dark, and the coffee shop near his work, its roasted bean scent sharp, offered no trace of him. I told everyone he was a coward, abandoning me for being honest about my past, but Sarah's casual bomb, Daniel's seeing someone new, a coworker, hit like a punch. They were friends, she said, stirring her latte. She helped him through stuff.